Hello, welcome back, my true crime junkies. I am back here today this week with another episode for you, and I do hope you enjoy it. And if you are new to this podcast, I am Ida, your host, and make sure that you subscribe today to make sure that you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And I will try and get 1 to 2 episodes a week posted on our social media on Instagram, and I'm on TikTok as well, so make sure to follow us there. And our podcast is available on any of your favorite platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on YouTube for sure. And just check the link on my bio on Instagram, and that'll direct you straight to all the platforms that my recordings are available on. And just make sure to share with all my true crime cases that I am sharing. I am trying to do this to try and bring awareness and in hopes of helping these cases. If you have any case ideas that you would like to bring to my attention, you are welcome to message me. And you can direct message me through the platform you're listening to, or on Instagram. You can find me by searching by True Crime Junkies with Z at the end, and just direct message me. You can send me any information, reach out to me, or even just to say hi. I love messages with anyone that would like to just reach out and say hi and share your comments. Also, reviews help big time, and I'm very happy with all the support I'm getting, and I do hope everybody continues supporting my podcast. So today I am gonna be discussing a pretty old case. Right now is considered a cold case, and still remains unsolved after decades. It is the brutal Austin yogurt shop murders of 1991. It was a murder scene that could appall the most hardened homicide detectives. In the early 1990s, Austin, Texas was shell-shocked by tragic, vicious crime. Late on December 6, 1991, firefighters responded to reports of smoke rising from the I Can't Believe It's yogurt shop on the West Anderson Lane. Once inside, the responders found a scene of horror. Amidst the inferno were the brutalized bodies of 4 teenage girls: Amy Ayers, Jennifer Harbison, Sarah Harbison, and Eliza Thomas. At least one of the girls had been raped. 3 were stacked atop each other like cordwood, and all have been bound with their own clothing before being shot in the head with a .22 caliber handgun. It was a murder that could appall even the most hardened homicide detectives, investigators. Immediately, the public placed pressure on authorities to catch whoever was responsible. 4 suspects, all teenagers themselves at the time, were charged with the crime. 8 years later, Forrest Wellborn, Maurice Pierce, Robert Springsteen, and Michael Scott. Grand juries, citing a lack of evidence, declined to indict Wellborn. The charges against Pierce were later dropped. Scott and Springsteen, however, were convicted in late 1999. The pair had confessed to the crime, saying that they committed the rape and murders while the other 2 stood watch. Scott was sentenced to life imprisonment. Springsteen, however, went to one of the best known and most feared places in Texas, death row. Before long, cracks began to appear in the case against them. They centered on the fact that their confessions, which they alleged had been coerced, were very detailed. Too detailed for some people's liking. One of the yogurt shop's case investigators, Detective Hector Polanco, was transferred off the case after allegations of his extorting similarly detailed confessions in an unrelated case. It didn't help the Austin PD when photographs surfaced on the internet from video footage of Scott's questioning. The images came from the Austin PD's own camera, and it showed Detective Merrill aiming a gun at Scott's head. By this point, the defendants have been sentenced to life and spent almost a decade in prison. The confessions provided were, according to one report, it was stunningly detailed, but decidedly false. The allegations against Polanco contributed to having Springsteen's and Scott's case reviewed and their convictions eventually overturned. There were a number of factors making investigations especially difficult. The Austin Police Department were relatively inexperienced in handling such horrific case and the public pressure that went with them. They also faced plethora of false confessions, useless information, and leads that went nowhere but still had to be checked. At one point, the investigation had a list of 342 potential suspects. And all told, over 50 false confessions had to be debunked, including one from a serial killer, Kenneth McDuff. McDuff, executed in 1998 on an unrelated murder conviction, made a confession on his execution day. He was known to be active in the area at the time of the crime and to target teenagers. Even though his confession was not likely an effort to gain a stay of execution, it still had to be checked. If, however, McDuff was hoping for a stay, he was disappointed. He died as scheduled. It wasn't until 2006 that the conviction of Scott and Springsteen were overturned. Because the state appealed against the ruling, the pair weren't released until 2009, 10 years after they were sent to jail. Forrest Wellborn, alleged by the state to have been a lookout while Springsteen, Pierce, and Scott committed the crimes, remains scarred by his experience at the hands of the Austin PD. Fellow suspect Maurice Pierce died in December of 2010 when a routine traffic stop turned deadly. Soon after being pulled over by the officer Frank Wilson and Wilson's partner, Pierce fled the scene, caught by Wilson, and Pierce drew a knife and stabbed the officer in the neck. Wilson managed to draw his sidearm and fatally shot Pierce. Wilson survived the stabbing. Other evidence still remains unresolved. Two unidentified men were seen entering the shop shortly before the time of the crime. According to two other customers, both credible witnesses who stopped in for yogurt Sundays, these men arrived shortly before the shop closed and remained after the door had been locked and the shop closed. It was common practice to close up around 10 minutes before 11 p.m., unlocking the door to allow any late customers to leave. Right now, the cold case detectives currently reviewing the case have yet to identify either of the men. DNA samples discovered at the scene match neither Scott nor Springsteen. Were the two unidentified suspects involved or just casual customers passing through? Unless they are found, the residents of Austin will likely never know what happened in that yogurt shop that night in 1991. So sadly, until today's date, this case has not been solved. They do not have any other suspects right now. It is considered a cold case. And these four young girls, unfortunately, don't have justice yet. And their family have waited decades to get some sort of justice. So if you do know anything, make sure you can contact the police department in this town and in Texas, and you give them the tip, give them any information. If you were there in that area, know anybody, help out the family and give the tip to help the investigators hopefully bring some justice and find the suspects that committed these cruel crimes. And these four girls, Amy Ayers, Jennifer Harbinson, Sarah Harbinson, and Alyssa Thomas, rest in peace, and hopefully some justice will be brought to you girls. And that is it for today, guys. Don't forget, make sure to subscribe. This recording will be available on YouTube, and available in any of your favorite platforms. So make sure to subscribe to not miss any future episodes. I will be posting weekly, and I will make notifications on Instagram as well. So if you have any questions, you want to submit your comment, remember, please be kind and respectful to the family. And also, if you have a case you would like to bring to my attention, don't forget, you can message me as well directly, and I will try and get back to you shortly. Alrighty, so this was it for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening in, and I will speak to you guys soon again. Bye.